Thank you for coming to the 2011 Student Government Election Debates. My name is Mila Dudley, and I am publisher of the Tartan, so I have the honor of moderating this year's debates. Please forgive me, I sound like a man. I'm sick. I apologize. I wanted to give you a basic outline of what we're going to do before we get started. First, we're going to have each of the candidates introduce themselves. Introduction should be no more than 3 minutes. And they're going to tell us a little bit about their platform and what they're going to do. Then we're going to have questions moderated by myself with 2-minute responses each. And then there will be some questions directed to the candidates specifically. After that, we're going to be open to audience questions. So if you guys want to come up and sit down here and line up at the mic when it's time for that, that'd be great. So I'd like to kick off the debates with introductions from our candidates for student body president and student body vice president. So,
can you all hear me? Good evening, my fellow Tartans. I want to thank you, the Tartan, cmuTV, and Mila Dudley for making these presidential debates possible. My name is Turiel Alcocer, and I am here today because I want to be your next student body president. I am a material science and biomedical engineering major from San Antonio, Texas, who has taken the opportunity to explore all sides of Carnegie Mellon life. I have been a writer for the Tartan, a brother of Delta Tau Delta fraternity, and an undergraduate researcher for 3 years. As both students and health advocates on campus, we recognize an issue that both undergraduate and graduate students share, and that issue is stress. Our platform begins with a dynamic solution. We will begin by enhancing student experience with our creation of the Health Rewards program and by bringing a presidential lecture series designed for inspiring student discussion about wellness and determination. We also share in the benefit and knowledge that comes from having a graduate mentor in research. And we recognize the potential for graduate and undergraduate working relationships. As a member of the Spanish and Latino Student Association, as well as the Carnegie Mellon Advice and Resource Center, our ideas follow the principle that meaningful engagement with cultural organizations is key to increasing student interest in diversity. Both of our involvement on campus has always begun with listening to our fellow Tartans and our organizational members. Communication and compassionate leadership is vital to an effective administration. Every Tartan should know our progress and have the opportunity to share in the future of this executive branch. It is my honor to introduce now your vice presidential candidate, a strong woman who I believe embodies the energy and wisdom that reflects a devoted Tartan, Ms. Kelsey Briggs.
I am thrilled for the honor of being a vice presidential candidate. I am constantly reminded of the possibilities here at Carnegie Mellon, having taken each of my 3 years to build connections with my fellow Tartans and own community. I have been an a cappella singer in Counterpoint, a residential assistant for 2 years, a sister of Delta 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 sorority, and an undergraduate researcher. We believe in the potential for students to change their perception of student government. Our mission is to put the heart back into the work that is this organization. Turi and I are here in front of you today as both candidates for president and vice president and a voice for the student body. Thank you.
Hello. I'd first like to thank the Tartan, and I'd like to thank cmuTV for putting on this event once again this year. I'd like to thank all of you here today and those of you who will be watching this later online for taking the initiative to make an informed vote. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Jake Flitner, and I am a junior studying mechanical engineering and public policy. I've been involved in student government since the fall of my freshman year, and I'm currently serving my 2nd term as a student senate chair. During those 3 years of student government, I've been exposed to a wide array of problems on campus. My prior roles has given me the background knowledge necessary to work on these issues. Although I've enjoyed my past roles, I've been limited by the responsibilities that they have entailed. By being student body president, it will give me the opportunity and ability to create the solutions and implement them so that Carnegie Mellon can improve as a community. I'd like to also introduce my running mate, Sangeeta Sharma. She's a sophomore, material science and biomedical engineering double major. She's been heavily involved in various areas of campus, especially within student life, serving as the SDC Secretary-Treasurer, as well as a first-year RA.
Additionally, she has been an integral part of various student organizations on campus. This has allowed her to stay connected with the campus pulse. Seeing how she has influenced these targeted areas of campus, I wanted to bring her energy and her perspective so that we could impact the entire campus. We are the best candidates because our partnership will be the most effective in implementing initiatives. This is evident by our combined involvement in over 25 groups and committees on campus, in addition to being the only candidates with student government experience. Having already built the necessary relationships, as well as already having concrete plans, we will be able to immediately start working on our initiatives while we continue to outreach for greater ideas. Our platform contains 6 main pillars. These are community building, government relations, health and safety, transparency, transportation, and continuing and enhancing previous initiatives. Under these pillars, we already have 20 proposed initiatives. We realize that our platform is not stagnant. It is a living proposal designed to be improved and expanded upon by the student body. With our combination of knowledge, experience, fresh perspective, our team can successfully implement any great idea. Regardless of your choice in this election, we encourage you all to make your voice heard by having an informed vote. We look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, candidates. I'm going to start off today's debates with the same question that has been asked first for the past 2 years. And that question is, what do you believe is the most important role of student government? We'll start with Tareen Kelsey and then rotate with every question.
Well, I think, I knew that they would ask this question, so in anticipation, we discussed this, and I think the role of student government is sort of self-defined, if you will. And I think the overarching role is pushing forward with ideas that students see as important to the future of Carnegie Mellon. And once you identify a problem, it is student government's role to efficiently find a solution, work with the administration, students, and bringing together opinions from all different areas to make an informed solution and decision in an efficient amount of time. I think student government can be a very powerful entity in making a difference if they follow these rules.
So the role of student government, if it was to be defined explicitly, we could all look into the governing documents which define every branch of our government. But taking a step back and trying to see what does it mean in the everyday's perspective is a group of people that have different roles in making sure to talk to students and proactively address the problems on campus. A lot of times people think student government is a reactive group. That is not the case. Each branch needs to be proactive in garnering what initiatives students want to have worked on, bringing those to the administration, and coming up with plausible solutions that can be implemented for the campus community. Thank you.
Okay. This is another question for all of the candidates. There's been a lot of talk this year about transparency in student government. What do you believe can be done to improve the reputation of student elected officials on campus?
So the reason why we put transparency as one of the pillars in our platform is because we believe that this perspective of the student body is that student body government doesn't really do that much, or like Jake said, is very reactive and not proactive. So we believe that it's really important that people see that there are a lot of things being done behind the scenes, and maybe things that aren't as visible, but are issues that student body government is dealing with, issues that come up. And so the thing that we think is the most important is that publicizing anything that we do, or any changes that we make, or any initiatives that we take. And that's why we think a big thing for us, and the reason why Jake talked to me the most about this, was that I've had a lot of experience in public relations and publicizing anything. So we think that any step that we take or any change that we make, we want the whole entire campus to be very well aware of it. So that's what we're going to try to do.
I think that was one of the first issues that Kelsey and I identified, along with a bunch of members of the student body. And if you look around campus, in our platform, in our campaign, you see our faces. And I think that is most important, to get students involved and to know who their student leaders are. So I think that's where transparency and effective communication with the student body starts. And I think we've taken that first step in letting students know that we are here and we're running. I think also identifying problems and people who can push forward with your effective solutions. And that's starting working relationships with the Dean of Student Affairs, knowing that President Cohen has, has our back in what we do, and making sure that student body leaders, the Vice President for Organizations as well as for Finance, knows our role and how we can work together to push forward with ideas and how we can publicize this. And
actively having means of transparency, such as open office hours, updating our websites, Facebook, Twitter, to provide students with a time to come and talk to us openly, and to passively just read about what is happening on campus is also really important. That's something that we are very interested in implementing. Thanks.
All right, this is another question for everyone in a similar nature. Outside of campaign promises, what specific initiatives do you have in mind for improving the communication and government relations between student government and the individual campus communities like Greek life?
Well, you mentioned Greeks in your question, and I know that there's members of the Greek community here, and I think for those who aren't part of the Greek community, they comprise 20% of the community. I think that's important to show that they are an abiding influence. The previous initiative from the student body president was to create a Greek liaison, and we'd like to further that idea, but also include other communities like the housing community, as well as members of the student body, to create preemptive solutions to student needs and to push forward with an efficient amount of time. So getting involvement with student government, but also including the housing communities and the Greek communities, and making sure that we have a unified solution. And I think having this sort of, we call it the innovation chair, having this innovation chair lead this group would allow us not only effective communication, but in an efficient amount of time.
So to first address the exact nature of the question about specifically with Greek communities, I already have experience working with various Greek governing bodies on campus. And the key to do is to realize what the role of the president is in terms of the Greek community. It's not our role to govern them, but rather integrate them into the discussions. For those in the Greek community, they may remember me from last semester, where I worked on making sure that Greeks were still able to get funding within undergraduate student senate. Those are the type of problems that need to be addressed on our end. And that can be done through being an active communicator with the governing bodies that are already made, in addition to utilizing the groups that are already created that are underused, such as the board of directors or student board of directors. This is a group that is designed to not only bring in Greek communities, but the other groups on campus, such as SDC, which controls a lot of the housing, and be able to have smaller groups that are already created use those forums that are made in order to increase communication and actually work on initiatives rather than just kind of give each other updates is what is being done now.